Tom Bright, Perigo, Achayo, Abe, everybody. Would you love to speak to your motion?
Yes, Right Honorable Speaker.
Even Augon, I've seen Augon, don't worry.
Colleagues,
Even Moma is there.
Thank you, colleagues, for supporting the motion. The justification for a motion seeking for a resolution of Parliament urging government to respond to the plight of Karamoja children who are enslaved in street begging and child labor. Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of Karamoja's street children is not new to you and to all of us colleagues. Due to the nature of the activities on the street, particularly begging around traffic lights, at the busy intersections, these children are highly visible, clearly living in extreme poverty and highly vulnerable. The public perception of these children is informed by an understanding of the drivers of poverty in Karamoja, as well as consideration of these children's humanitarian plight. As a consequence, the attitudes towards these children ranges from great sympathy to outrightly hostility. Some people are hostile to these children. While there have been efforts to respond to the plight of Ugandan girls in the Middle East and other parts, the evidence suggests that little has been done to prioritize the internal trafficking of children from Karamoja, including those forced into begging and child labor. Nearly all victims of this domestic and child trafficking are from Napak, nearly all. And I therefore thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to table this motion on behalf of the people whom I represent in the House. The out-migration to the street has not left anybody. There are children of chairmen, LC1s, there are children of councillors who have also found themselves in the street. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, there are a number of drivers, things that have forced these children to the street, but I will stick to two for now. One of them is perpetual scarcity of basic goods and services. You might be aware that the people of Karamoja rely heavily on livestock farming and small crops. They do small crop farming also. Every time when there is a mist season, or when there is an outbreak of foot and mouth disease, you will see the street full. It becomes economic directly. So you'll find children moving to the street to survive. The other factor is the insecurity. And that is the reason why people have been asking, why Napak, why not other districts? The insecurity is the easiest way to empty Karamoja. It is on record that the first migrants from Napak, it was Bokora County then, left in 1978-79, when there was a war that led into the break-in of the Moroto Barracks Armory. And then our good brothers got into the armory and helped themselves with the guns and decided to unleash it on the Bokora community. That was the first exit. Fortunately, the people who exited then did not go to beg. They went to look for what to do, work in other parts, including in Bunyoro. And the unfortunate bit is that they remained a link. They did not lose touch with home. So when the concept of going to beg became lucrative, there was an easy link because we already had our people living in other towns of Kampala and other cities. So it was an easy link. That is the reason why it is Napak and not any other district of this country. Unfortunately, Right Honorable Speaker, as we speak now, the insecurity level in Karamoja has risen again. Last night, a number of people did not sleep in their homes. They had to sleep in schools and in hospital compounds. So when the people sleep in schools regularly, it frustrates efforts of resettlement. We will see the streets getting full with children and also with adults. Right, Honorable Speaker, The state of Karamoja's children in Kampala and in Nairobi is alarming. Some have found themselves in Nairobi. Here in Kampala, our children are bundled up in small units, each paying rent of space for sleeping at a fee of 1,000 shillings per night. A room accommodating more than 30 children bundled up because the landlord wants to make more money. Therefore, these children are under obligation to beg in order to find money for renting a night's sleep and to give the boss, the person who brought you to the city, to beg. Isn't this slavery in our time and in our watch? I have no idea how these children who are bundled up in one unit even survived COVID. I have no idea. Because of the booming business of renting space here in Kampala, the landlords have had to interest themselves in the area where these children come from. They now coordinate with parents, with middlemen, to ferry children in the bus, because the bigger the number of children you have in your house, the more the rent. That is what our children are going through here in Kampala even today. Additionally, some of the children, especially the girls, who have found themselves in the streets of Nairobi, there is a report that some of them have lost their body organs. There is a girl from Lorikitai Parish in Lokopo Sub-County in Napak district. She found her way to Nairobi. On the fateful day, she was allegedly given a drink, and the next time she woke up, she was in a hospital. And she got discharged. Nobody explained to her what happened. Later, she realized there was a wound by her side. She came back to Napak, and she got sick, and then she was taken to a hospital, and they found that she had lost one of her kidneys. Unaware, the girl cannot be traced. She fled the family forever. Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, I acknowledge the efforts so far put by government to rescue our children. The 10th Parliament appropriated 3.4 billion shillings, and of that money, about 1 billion was released to the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. Of this 1 billion shillings, only 38 million was sent to Napak district for surveillance. 38 million. 200 million went to FUFA. I don't know where the other money went. There have been FUFA, yes. There have been attempts to repatriate children back home, but the attempts have been failing. There have been some efforts, yes, by the Ministry of Gender and Social Development. We have the Kobulin Center. It's a holding home for children returned from the street. However, some children are returned and accompanied at the age of 5 or even less. So they struggle to explain their ordeals. They even struggle to identify their true identity. It makes it difficult to resettle these children. So after holding, Kobulin Center holds these children for a maximum of 1 week, and they are in a hurry to release them to the community. These children are released to the same community that sent them away. So they are rejected, and they find themselves back to the street. The older girls are trained. There is a success story. The older girls who are a little older, 14 years or so, children, are trained, skills. They get trained in the Kobulin Center for 4 months. After those 4 months, they are released to join the community. Unfortunately, they are released without any startup kit or package. So they struggle to find capital to fit in the community or to survive. Those children, those girls have found themselves back in the streets of Nairobi looking for a living, even if we skill them. Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, there is an issue of surveillance